Just want to let you know that because everything I do in my build is what the Lord is showing us. This is my roller blind. I've got 2 roller blinds, exactly the same. I'm sewing them. I'm hanging 2 up there. Without even trying, it actually goes exactly to this line, the roller blind, which it's short from 2 meters. This is a 2 meter window. The roller blind goes to here. I already have the timber. And it goes to here. What are the chances? The Lord gets everything exactly right every time. I asked him to help me find my stuff. Like that curtain is not the curtain I'm going to use. So I went into 3 bags outside and they were completely wet yesterday. And it's all my curtain stuff for all of these lit windows. This one, that door, and that window. So it's dark in here. So the darkness doesn't come in. So these are the curtains the Lord had me find. They were completely wet and going mouldy in a plastic bag. I asked him to help me. They're the ones I'm using. That one there is going on this window with Venetian blinds. So why am I doing this? Because there's only one way, and the Lord God is the potter, and he was there in Genesis 2 with Jehovah, Jesus. They were there in Genesis 2. Wasn't Genesis 1. And it's all about 3 days of darkness. Red cloud heads up. 3 days of darkness, red cloud heads up. So why do you think? Go to Mike 444's channel. He's just posted something on 3 days of darkness. Why do you think the church is going to be there? I'll link his video. Because the church is going to be there. Because it's judgment on us. First, on the church. On the false church. But something beautiful is going to happen. We'll see the sorting from the sheep and the goats. So I just wanted to let you know that I have a testimony about a dead cat. Yellow chased a cat, a stray cat of Paul's, onto the road and it was dead. That happened 3 days ago. I'm uninvited to Paul's now. It was his stray cat he was feeding. It wasn't his cat, Macy. I was nearly in tears when I went out and saw it. I dragged it to the curb. When I was 8, the first thing I ever saw, dead, 8 years old, was on my way to school and it was a dead cat on a curb. And I knew, and I grieved, because I knew that somebody had loved this cat once and that now it was just kicked to the curb. 2018, after the 13th of June, when the Lord was speaking clearly to me, when I'd fully gone through the fire and cried out in desperation, which you guys, many of you hadn't done yet. You haven't borne your soul, you haven't been persecuted, you haven't been driven into the arms of Jesus. I was driven, you know. I've got to admit that. I say I went out of obedience, I went willingly. Well, yeah, I heard his voice go up to the mountains and I left everything. But it was a miracle that he woke me up, gave me a sit-up in the middle of the night, and I prophesied into Hades, basically. The time is now, and spoke in tongues. It was a miracle that he'd unfluffed my nest, like I was an eagle, an eaglet. He unfluffed my nest. He unfluffed it good and proper. So I had nothing. I had no mother. I had no daughter. I had no son. I had no other daughter. I had no house. I had no job. I had no career. I had no husband because he'd already moved out so that the Lord could do this. He'd moved out of the bedroom. So the glory goes to him, and that's the problem. The big problem is you're not giving God the glory. That is the problem. That is the key. We know that's the key. Right, have we got all the dogs? You're always dragging behind. Why are you limping, miss? Are you okay? You're limping on one foot, miss. This is tribute. Have you paid your tribute? Okay, so go and watch a movie. The evening that the cat was killed on the road, I dragged it by the tail to the curve. I watched it do its last twitch. Yellow was trying to sit with it. Or either that or eat it, I don't know. Hopefully he learned a lesson, because it could have been him under that car. You see, the thing is that it's a switcheroo. You watch the movie Otto with Tom Hanks. Now, the last movie he put out was about a nuclear Holocaust aftermath. And he had a dog. Now this one, he's got a cat. It's just like a Clint Eastwood movie. It's like the Clint Eastwood movie. A grumpy, obnoxious, bitter man and the neighbours move in or alter his character, or his character comes through as his true character, and he ends up being the hero. Did you know that Otto is basically credited as the king that established the Roman Catholic Church? Yeah. Anyway, he has a wife who passed away, and her name is, believe it or not, Ukrainian. Sonia. Her name is Sonia. And as you watch the movie, and I know you probably won't, but it's going to be a breakdown like you would not believe. It's about the dead cat. It's about 3 days of darkness. It's now. So, Sonia already has a tomb. She died. She was in a bus accident. So, who goes under the bus? She was in a bus accident and she lost her baby, and then she was in a chair, and then when she passed away, he was visiting her tomb, got the tombstone. Now he's in the tomb because, you know what his problem is? He has an enlarged heart. He has a big heart. Now, who would have thought that would be a problem? And there's keywords in it. There's a switcheroo. He's switching out the angels. This is a switcheroo. This whole movie, Dig Deep, is a switcheroo. It's gone from a dog to a cat. Points to Clint Eastwood. Remember the sign? The smoking gun? Clint is our turned up good guy. You know, they are imposters. Did you know that I had Brian here on Christmas Eve? He's already told me that Graham, who's the man who bought the bike, who has Michael, the dog named after the archangel who kicks Satan's ass, that guy, told a lie. Brian never slipped cleaning the bike. And he rung up recently, Brian said, he talked to me this morning. Now, I haven't seen Graham since I received money for the motorbike. So the news is that he's actually going to get Brian to help sell the bike on behalf in the shop in Christchurch. He's going to help transport it. And after that conversation, Brian said, because they always tell you, you know, the enemy will get on the phone and tell you, or tell you in person. They all tell you because the Lord has told them that they are the conditions, that they have to tell us. Now, it not just happens with our world leaders, it happens on a personal level. Can you not see that? They tell you. So Brian's telling me that this is what's happening with Graham on the bike, because I can't work out why I've had 3-4 phone calls. He woke me up this morning with a phone call. Why is he ringing? I can't answer because it's all about a dead cat. I don't have any. I was sad because Paul said not to come around again, ever. Well, he's done it before, but I feel like this is final. I felt sad. Did you know I don't have any way of keeping my food cold without using his freezer? And I don't have any way of charging my battery for my DeWalt's or my vacuum, which probably doesn't matter, without Paul. Well, guess what? Or my telephone. It's sort of actually a bullshit story because I've actually got 2 generators. So now I just pray the Lord will get my generators going, and I've got the money to buy petrol, and we can still buy it. It's available. So anyway, I don't need Paul. So all of my dead cats are gone. Now the point is, Graham rang up Brian, and Brian told me this morning and said about the bike, I want you to help me transport it to Christchurch to sell it on behalf. Now the guy can't ride it because he got terrified by its power. And the day he bought it, apparently it was him who dropped the bike 3 times trying to get down the hill. And he's just had it sitting in his garage since, and now he wants to sell on behalf. So he's going to lose a shitload of money. It's the second bike he's tried to buy. I didn't sell it. He rang me and said, I want to buy your bike, okay? Then he said, and I shouldn't have even been in the conversation. He said, I know you've been to see Lisa. Your car's been seen there. Well, Brian was there Christmas Eve. And I said to Brian, how does he know that your car was there? Well, he's already been to Christchurch. And beyond that, there, he told me he parks and that my caravan can't be seen, only those containers. So he's watching. Well, he can't see from there because he's told me he can't see from there. And I've gone and checked after he said that. You can't see my caravan from there. So how did he know that Brian had been here? Well, it was probably through the gossip mill, but there's a possibility it's just a supernatural scout who's hunting me. Well, I'm fucking hunting them. And that's the way it is. 13:30. I'm hunting them. You will be the hunter now. They will go under the bus. Look up what Sonia means. It's Ukrainian Russian name. Look up what Otto means. Watch the movie. In the movie, the cat doesn't die. It's the man with the big heart who dies. See, they're mocking us. But is it your heart that the Lord saves, or is it your soul? Ask yourself that, because feelings, it's nothing more than feelings. And you all have your feelings about me. You all have your feelings about me, and you all have your feelings about God. Or you're all going to be very, very upset when it comes. That's because, as I've just listened to on a YouTube video, not once, line of Judah, I think, not once is it mentioned in the Bible to be led by your feelings. Absolutely never does God say be led by your feelings. So you can guarantee if you're led by your feelings, If you're led by your feelings, you're on Satan's path. So be in the spirit at all times. Learn how to do that, to pray unceasingly, because it's actually possible. Keep your zeal, and that's advice that I want to give myself as well. There will be a time where you put your phone down. There will be a time. Is this the time I put my phone down and start eating from cans and rice? I don't know. We'll have a go. We'll start our generator. We'll see if the generator goes. Is this the time where I go to see a doctor, which I'm going to see on the 11th? On the 11th, I have an appointment to see a doctor. And I have a dream, and it's all about my specialist. Now, his name is Dr. Hornibrook. And I have a forwarded message in my medical records that say I have Meniere's disease, no balance nerve. So I need to take that to a doctor, and I haven't been to a doctor here on the West Coast at all. It's one that, it's funny, it's one that Paul sent me to, so we'll see. Paul said her name is Anna, like Annabelle, the horror movie, or like Anna, the Russian movie, a play within a play. You know Anna, the Russian spy? Go see that movie. The Lord spoke to me about that. It's Anna. Her name's Anna. And what Paul said is, oh, you'll like her. I think you'll like her because she's got 2 small dogs in her office. You sit there and they've got their eyes looking at you, he said. So there you go. Going to see that doctor. I've lost... when I take a step, I lose my balance. There are issues, health and safety issues. So I legitimately need to go and see a doctor about work and my availability for work. And that needs to be done. And I have the dream where I'm lined up outside a place like Washington with steps. And I'm holding a specialist letter. It's a really important letter, I know, because, you know, when you see a specialist, you have to wait months. So I can't really imagine why or how she could justify sending me to go and see a specialist, because it's already a done deal. I haven't seen a specialist for 10 years because basically it's a life sentence. You don't have a balanced nerve, you don't have a balanced nerve. And technically, if you're young, you compensate, but when you get older, you can't. And that's just what's happened. It's just natural progression. I sort of didn't think about it at the time, but I had no choice to have my balance nerve cut because I had small children and I can't be stopping in the middle of a motorway vomiting on the side of the road. I needed to stop being sick. Do you understand? Full on vertigo. Have you experienced it when you're drunk at a party as a teenager, when you go round and 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 round? Yeah. I couldn't do that any longer. So I had to get it done. So that's just really something. It's just, I can't imagine having to see a specialist. But anyway, I'm holding a letter and it's all around the specialist letter. There's a line of people in front of me. I'm going into WINS, which is like our work and income, with this letter, which is what they want. They now need me to bring evidence that, I have a permanent disability. Well, I'm going into WINS and I have a letter. There's people in front of me telling me to keep my space, my 2-metre space. And they're obnoxious. They look really down and out like me. We look like the dregs, the lowest of the low, which we are. That's what we're considered. But they're angry, obnoxious. They're not nice. They're all agitated. Anyway, I walk in and there's 2 ladies I can see. It's dark. There is no light. There's like a partition wall in front of them, and I know it's a partition wall. The lady I sit with is the first lady at a desk, a glass desk that I can see through. First thing I notice is that one, which is like a yuppie, I know, and I know it's a generalisation what people are like that work at Wins. I know what they're like. They're like the ones that turned on everybody over the last 2 years. That type of person. They're the personalities that get a job there. That's why Des, who owns this land, got a job there. Do you understand? I'm sleeping with the enemy. I'm in bed with the enemy, the Lord told me. I'm surrounded by the enemy. I have absolutely no one that's living, breathing, well, they're all walking dead around me. Absolutely no one I can name. Everyone's been switched out. Paul and Gary, the two baptism boys, they've been switched out. God is switching out the angels. We might have a call, but we ain't chosen because we're not choosing him. They're being switched out. God is switching out the angels. Just because you heard something from the Lord once, he doesn't have to keep his promise when you break your fucking promise. Do you understand that? If you break your promise, he is not obliged to do anything for you, to hear you or to save you. You broke your promise. God doesn't break his.